Are you thinking about moving to Huntsville, Alabama? Well, I've got 5 things you absolutely need to know before you make the move. Hi, I'm Cameron Walker, and as a realtor, I work with a lot of clients that relocate to the area. And over the years, I've found things that they were unaware of, either moving to Alabama in general or Huntsville specifically. And today, I'm making a list for you of those things that are most common that people are unaware of. So let's dive right in. Number 1 is going to be Alabama is the last buyer beware state, also known as caveat emptor. And what this means is Alabama does not have the seller disclosure laws that many states have. So if you're buying a home here in Alabama, you really want to have a home inspection. And if there's any particular areas, say a foundation, electrical, plumbing, or an HVAC system that you may have concerns with, you want to get a specialist in that field to check that out. The seller's not required to make any disclosures about these systems or anything else about the home. So it's really on you as the buyer to be informed and make sure you're checking out for any red flags or concerns that you may have about the home that you're looking to purchase. So this is the number 1 thing. It catches a lot of people off guard because some states really favor the buyer and put a lot of responsibilities and duties on the seller to disclose. And that's just not the case here. There are a few exemptions for this, or different things. So one is that there's a fiduciary duty between the seller and the buyer. If I as an agent were selling you a home, my own personal home, I would have to disclose any defects. That very rarely happens. Number 2, and more common, is if there's anything, material defects in the home that impact the health and safety of the home. So think lead-based paint, asbestos, mold. If there's a railing that's falling off stairs, those things do have to be disclosed. You would still most likely find those things through routine inspection, but the seller does have a duty to disclose those to you. And the third would be if you as the buyer or me as your agent ask the seller or their agent specific questions like, hey, has this HVAC been acting up recently? Are there any leaks in the home? So if we ask those specific questions, the seller does have the duty to respond and honestly and give us that information. So those are just the 3 exemptions from the standard buyer beware and things that kind of catch people off guard a little bit when they move to Alabama. Number 2 is termites. Alabama does have termites. We have several different varieties. They're almost exclusively subterranean. They're common throughout the southeast. And fortunately here in North Alabama, they're not as prevalent as they are in South Alabama. But overall throughout the state, I've seen estimates anywhere from 1 in 5 homes to 1 in 3 homes will have termite damage over the lifetime of that home. So, okay, this is not a good thing, right? But how do we mitigate that risk? So the first thing is I always recommend having a termite inspection done when you purchase a home. They cost $65 to $100, totally worth it. That way you come in knowing you have a clean bill of health in the home. Or if there's termite damage, you're either able to get out of that contract or have the seller remediate it. So other ways to mitigate this risk is you want to have a termite bond. So what is a termite bond? Well, homeowners insurance doesn't cover termite damage, but a termite bond will. Essentially, you have a local pest company that services your property. They may put out termite bait or treatment or what have you, and they'll come by every month or every quarter, check the home, check their bait traps, all that. So let's say a termites or termites make it past that bait trap and those defenses, and they cause damage to the home. That bond is actually going to cover that damage, whereas homeowners insurance wouldn't. It's not going to come out of your pocket. It's going to come out of the company that's protecting and defending your home from termites. So 2 things here: get that inspection done, get a termite bond. If a homeowner already has a termite bond when they go to sell the home, those are usually transferable to the new buyer as well. So you definitely want to have that done. And in some cases, many mortgage companies even require that a termite inspection be completed. Number 3 thing you need to know about Alabama is the weather. We have hot, humid summers. Really, July and August are the peak of it. Routinely seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. Every now and then we eclipse 100, but usually mid to upper 90s is what we see with high humidity. We have a lot of, summer afternoon thunder showers, rainstorms, what have you. And then, of course, we do have severe weather. You may have heard that Alabama is prone to tornadoes, and it's absolutely true. We do have tornadoes here. They're maybe not quite as big a deal as the media makes them out to be, but they can be devastating where they do hit. Our local forecasters, they know this, they're very experienced, and they can give you a heads up 2 to 3 days, even sometimes a week out, that hey, there's potential for severe weather this day. You want to be weather aware. And weather aware just means having apps on your phone, checking periodically to see what the weather's doing. At night, have it on the news channel so you can see if severe weather's popping up, and have a weather radio. If there's a thunderstorm warning or tornado warning or anything like that, that weather radio is going to go off. We usually have tons of advance warning. These storms that produce tornadoes, they don't generally pop up out of nowhere. They're usually long track storms that come in from Mississippi. So we usually have hours of warning before a storm like that comes to the area, and you can prepare accordingly. A lot of our homes have built-in tornado shelters, and then we also have community shelters as well. And of course, more modern construction techniques, no, they don't build them like they used to. They do build them with tornadoes in mind. So there's a lot of design that goes into that about how the air flows up and around the home, and how to keep the structural integrity of a home during a tornado. So, this can be off-putting to people, and I understand that, but there are ways to mitigate the risk. Also, it's not like flood insurance or hurricane insurance or anything like that. Your homeowner's insurance will protect you if there was any damage. I've lived here for over 30 years, and I only know one person that ever had any tornado damage, and it wasn't like their house collapsed or anything. Something else about the weather here, we have long spring and fall. Yes, we have a very hot summer, but we have a very mild winter. And leading into it and out of it, we get months of spring and fall weather, and it's absolutely beautiful here. Think, kind of mid-70s, low humidity, great time to be outdoors, whether you're doing sports, hiking, fishing, grilling out, playing in the yard, whatever you enjoy doing, riding bikes, jogging. We have a long stretch of weather that is perfect for doing all these outdoor activities. And that kind of catches some people by surprise because they think it's just really hot all the time. No, we have, 3/4 of the year is outstanding. And then our winters are generally mild, but a little surprise to you, we do get some snow. Our area averages about 2 inches of snow a year, and that may all come in 1 year and not have any for 3. So last year we had 3.5 inches of snow at my house. My kids absolutely loved it, right? And fortunately, I had lived out of state for a little while, so I still had a snow shovel. So I was renting that thing out to the neighborhood. Not really, but So anyway, we don't have plows, we don't have sand trucks. So if we do get snow or ice, a lot of the state and this city and area shuts down. Bridges and overpasses are going to be cold and icy and not safe to drive upon. There are a few plows and a few sand trucks. So I'm not saying you can't get anywhere. Just if snowy weather's coming in, of course, you want to go to the grocery store and get your bread, milk, and eggs, right? But, just be prepared. Have your batteries charged, or, if you have devices like cell phones, tablets, anything like that, have those batteries charged, have your flashlights, have a way, heating and preparing food, make sure you have plenty of bottled water on hand. It's not like, we get blizzards down here and we're out of power for weeks on end, but, for a day or two, it can be hard to get around until that snow melts off. Good news is it's never cold enough in the winter that the snow just sits there for weeks on end. It's usually, it snows during the day and it might be gone by nighttime and certainly by the following day. All right. So number 4 is going to be taxes, right? So what do you need to know about Alabama taxes? In general, Alabama has some of the lowest taxes in the U.S., but they are spread across several different areas. We do have an income tax, we do have sales tax, and we do have property tax. So, those things even added together are not as high as other states, but you need to be aware of that. You may be moving from a state that doesn't have property tax or income tax, and we have both in addition to the sales tax. And then in Huntsville specifically, there's 5 different tax zones. So depending on whether you live in the city, in the county, what cities or suburbs you may live in, that's going to impact your own personal tax rate. So if that's something that's a concern for you, you're thinking, hey, I don't want to pay any more taxes than I have to, then you definitely want to consider the areas that you're going to move, and that's something we could discuss when you give me a call. All right, so number 5 is actually, I'm going to talk about ways to mitigate your taxes. So this is something unique to Alabama. There may be other states with it, I'm just unaware. But in Alabama, in order to raise property taxes, the local area has to hold a referendum vote. They actually have to send a bill to our state legislature to be voted upon. And then once that's approved, we, the people here, the taxpayers, get to vote whether or not we're going to raise our own taxes. Some areas in Huntsville have recently done so to build new schools, specifically like Madison City. But sometimes those referendums fail too. So, you have a lot more control in Alabama as an individual over what you pay in taxes. The second thing is our homestead exemption. So there's a lot of different types of homestead exemptions, and the one I'm speaking about is Alabama specific, where your property taxes actually get cut in half. I mean, I'm going to say that again, in half. You only have to pay half the property taxes if you own that home as your primary residence. There's one little caveat to that, though. You have got to file for it. I spend hours every week in the tax records helping people with buying and selling homes, looking up information, and I can see whether or not a homeowner has filed for their homestead exemption. And you would be shocked at the amount of people who never go through the process of filing that homestead exemption. Now, depending on where you live, it's a little more arduous than other areas. You know, the state and the local governments want to make sure that, you know, an investor's not trying to claim homestead exemption or, you know, claim homestead exemption on a second home. So you have to take a little documentation down to the courthouse, but it's a quick trip. They know exactly what you're looking to do. Their websites have exactly what you need. You know, you're in and out in under 30 minutes, and you just shaved off half your taxes. So little tip there, you know, make sure you file that. You know, you want to file it before October to make sure you get the full year benefit. But please file your homestead exemption. I'm tired of seeing people that I know it's their primary residence. They're paying double the taxes that they have to.